The Trump Secretary of Labor, Alex Acosta, is now a front-runner for worst person appointed by President Trump. He was called to the House of Representatives yesterday to testify on the president's budget proposal for the Labor Department, and we knew he was going to be asked about his days as a federal prosecutor in Florida when he made a deal with President Trump's billionaire friend Jeffrey Epstein, who was facing possible charges of sex trafficking and child rape. And knowing that was going to happen, you would think that Alex Acosta would have been a little more careful about the Labor Department's budget for stopping child labor and human trafficking.
The International Labor Affairs Bureau, ILAB, within the Department of Labor is responsible for combating exploitive child labor, forced labor, and human trafficking. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So the smart move for Alex Acosta would have been to increase the Labor Department's spending on the ILAB piece of their budget. It's a relatively small item in the Labor Department budget, so a small increase in a small item in the budget would help the Labor Secretary with that little problem of his, that when he was a prosecutor, he made a deal that allowed a billionaire sex trafficker and child rapist to avoid prison. That would be a smart move, but this is the Trump Labor Secretary we're talking about.
You've also proposed a budget cut of almost 80%. 79% to ILAB, where this work is done, bringing its budget from $68 million to just $18.5 million.
Congresswoman Catherine Clark of Massachusetts was just getting warmed up. What you're about to see could only happen in the Trump administration, because only Donald Trump would appoint someone like Alex Acosta to his cabinet, and only the Trump-controlled Republican Senate would vote to confirm someone who now stands accused by a federal judge of breaking the law as a prosecutor to help a billionaire sex trafficker and child rapist.
When you were the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of Florida, your office investigated Jeffrey Epstein and your office found that there had been a sexual abuse pyramid scheme that involved at least 36 underage girls, ranging from age 14 to 17. This is horrifying and sick stuff. Mr. Epstein raped and assaulted these girls. He recruited them out of shopping malls. He had employees that helped with this. And then he invited his friends to do the same. And there is evidence that he transported these girls among his mansions throughout the United States and abroad. Epstein and his friends destroyed these girls' lives. Senator Ben Sasse called Mr. Epstein a monster. Would you say that's a fair characterization?
He engaged in vile crimes, yes.
You're a law professor, besides many of your other jobs that you've had, and I'm sure you know there's no such thing as child prostitution under federal law, only child sex trafficking. And each offense under 18 U.S.C. 1591 carries a sentence ranging from 10 years to life in prison. So logically, Mr. Epstein, with the investigation of the federal U.S. Attorney's Office, should have been looking at a potential sentence of 360 years at a minimum. But that's not what happened, because there was a power dynamic here, wasn't there? We had teenage girls with no power who were rape and sexual assault victims, and we had Mr. Epstein and his friends, extremely powerful, wealthy, and connected people. And in a ruling on February 21st of 2019, Judge Mara found you illegally entered a non-prosecution agreement that allowed Mr. Epstein to serve just 13 months in county jail, where he received 12 hours a day on work release, 6 days out of the week. The judge found you broke the law, Secretary Acosta, when you chose not to tell the victims about this deal, and that you gave them the impression that this investigation was ongoing. And do you disagree with any of the facts that were found in the opinion that Judge Mara issued?
Congresswoman, first let me say that the Southern District of Florida has prosecuted sex trafficking aggressively in the past, and it is an incredibly important issue, and it's something that needs to be aggressively pursued. Turning to the
Do you disagree with? Now, I get to ask the questions here. Do you disagree with any of the facts as presented in the opinion of Judge Mara?
The Department of Justice, I think rightly so, for the past 12 years has defended the action.
That is a yes or no question. I ask unanimous consent to submit the opinion.
And Alex Acosta did not disagree with one word of the judge's opinion that Congresswoman Clark was referring to. The judge said that Alex Acosta broke the law. Alex Acosta had a chance to say, no, I did not break the law. But he didn't say that. But at least he did say that what Jeffrey Epstein did were, quote, vile crimes. That's not the way Donald Trump saw his friend, billionaire Jeffrey Epstein. He thinks Jeffrey Epstein's a terrific guy. And Donald Trump seems to have had some idea of what Jeffrey Epstein was up to. He joked about it. Here's what Donald Trump said about his friend Jeffrey Epstein in 2002. Donald Trump said, I've known Jeff for 15 years. Terrific guy. He's a lot of fun to be with. It is even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side. No doubt about it. Jeffrey enjoys his social life. On the younger side. Terrific guy. Not a monster. Donald Trump doesn't think Jeffrey Epstein is a monster. Donald Trump still hasn't said that what Jeffrey Epstein did were vile crimes. In fact, after everything that has been publicly revealed about Jeffrey Epstein in court, Donald Trump still hasn't said anything negative about his friend. We couldn't find a negative word that Donald Trump has said about Jeffrey Epstein right up to this date. And so, no matter how bad the Trump appointees get, no matter how far down in the barrel Donald Trump reaches for his next nominee to a federal position, the worst person in the Trump administration is always going to be Donald Trump. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on the button below for more from The Last Word and the rest of MSNBC.